Welcome to Gradia, a space where books meet betterment and growth begins with a single idea. Here you'll find AI-generated summaries of powerful self-help books, crafted to make timeless wisdom feel a little more accessible. But make no mistake, while AI helps shape these summaries, there's a real person behind every word you read. Someone who's been moved by these books, who's wrestled with their lessons, and who now shares them with one simple hope: that they help you grow too. We always encourage you to explore the original books and support the brilliant minds behind them. Gradia isn't a shortcut. It's a spark, a small light to guide you deeper into the ideas that can change everything. Let's grow, one page at a time.
Okay, so you know that feeling, right? Like from the time you were a little kid and you could finally spell your name, it's like the world already had this plan laid out for you.
It is kind of wild how deep that goes. It's almost like a silent programming running in the background, shaping our whole idea of what work is,
Yeah.
and what we're supposed to be aiming for in life. And most of the time, we don't even realize it's happening.
It's true. And that's what we're getting into today with this deep dive. Especially for you, the learner. You sent us this PDF, Purpose Profit, by Dan Koe.
Oh, this is a good one.
Right. And we want to help you really get those core insights, not just skimming the surface. What's Koe really saying about purpose, profit, and how work is changing, right? All without overwhelming you.
What's really interesting about Koe is he's not trying to give you a step-by-step guide. He's aiming for something much deeper, like a shift in your beliefs about these topics. He wants to inject what he calls better ideas, not just more actions to take.
Exactly. He even says right out, this isn't some typical practical business book. So today, we're going to dive deep into these ideas and really uncover those underlying principles that Koe is getting at.
So think about this. How much of what you believe about work and purpose right now truly came from you? And how much of it might be echoes of that early conditioning Koe's talking about?
Yeah, let's jump right into this first part. The truth about jobs. Koe really focuses on this feeling of being on a path that's already been chosen for you, almost like destiny. And he links it back to, get this, learning the ABCs as a kid.
Whoa.
Yeah. He calls it a silent encoding. It's like this hidden message that your main goal is to help someone else reach their dreams, not your own. Pretty heavy stuff.
Definitely makes you think. Like how much of our education system, especially early on, it's about fitting into pre-existing structures, prepping us to fill specific roles in a system that's already there. Koe is arguing that this can accidentally make us live someone else's idea of success.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he talks about that feeling so many of us have. You're learning things you don't really care about, doing tasks that don't light you up, all for some future that maybe you don't even want. It's easy to see how that can make you feel trapped, burdened by responsibilities.
It's like you're always looking ahead, right? To when you can finally rest or retire, thinking, someday I'll be happy. But Koe points out this really common cycle, the work-rest cycle. You work, you rest, but you never feel truly satisfied.
Yeah, and the retirement dream. It can become this thing where once you're there, it's just normal life again. That need for something meaningful, it's still there. It's that classic hamster wheel. Work, rest, repeat, but never really feeling fulfilled.
But here's where Koe gets super interesting. He separates problems into two types: assigned problems and chosen problems. Humans are built to solve problems, that's natural. But the big difference is the meaning we attach to those problems.
He says it directly, actually. Purpose does not exist without problems. That's huge. So it's not about avoiding problems altogether. It's about choosing the problems we want to work on, the ones that matter to us, instead of just tackling whatever's thrown at us.
Exactly. Choosing our challenges. It's like switching from being a problem avoider to a problem seeker. I think that's a key insight he's driving at.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it connects to what he says about money. He knows most people, at first, are just focused on survival, but he sees that as a starting point, a gateway to deeper motivations.
It's like that example he uses about lifting weights.
Yeah.
Some people start just for looks, right? But then it can become a form of therapy, and then eventually it becomes this deep pursuit of mastery. He thinks money can be similar. Starting from just needing to get by, then wanting external validation, and eventually wanting to create and contribute something meaningful.
He's not glorifying those initial superficial motivations, but he's acknowledging they can lead to something more. Like he says, the material can be a portal to the immaterial. It's about our pursuits gaining deeper meaning as we strive for mastery.
Exactly. So we're conditioned to work for others, on problems given to us. But real purpose comes when we choose our own challenges. And the desire for money It's not inherently bad. It can evolve into something much bigger.
So what about this prediction Koe makes about the future of work?
This is where he takes a really strong stance. He's predicting that most work in the future will be done by entrepreneurs, and specifically creators, along with a smaller group of what he calls elite entrepreneurial employees. He even says that the traditional entry-level job is basically going extinct.
Wow, that's bold. So he's basically saying we're facing a choice. Rely on some kind of universal basic income, which creates dependence, or go all in on entrepreneurship.
In entrepreneurship, for Koe, isn't just starting a business. It's about having what he calls high agency, the ability to set your own goals and go after them without needing permission. He compares it to low agency, where your goals are assigned to you.
And he emphasizes that to get to this high agency, you got to take responsibility for everything, even when things go wrong, even when it doesn't feel like your fault. That's a tough mindset shift, but I can see how powerful it would be.
Totally. It's about that internal locus of control, right?
Yeah.
Instead of blaming others, you look inward for solutions and opportunities to grow.
He talks about those default paths in life, like school and then a job, as being useful for learning basic skills. But he warns they can make us complacent, and that goes against our need for challenge and growth.
He suggests that settling for a job for the perceived security can actually make your true calling fade away, because you're not facing the kinds of challenges that really push you and help you learn who you are.
And entrepreneurship, for him, it's full of uncertainty. It demands adaptability, resilience when you fail, and a commitment to always learning. It's not the easy route. But he argues that clinging to the employee mindset can be more draining in the long run.
It can be, because it can stifle that natural human drive to create and contribute. He really separates employee and entrepreneur as mindsets, not just job titles. Are you mostly receiving directions, or are you creating your own vision and going after it? That's the key difference.
And he pushes back on the idea that entrepreneurship is just about crazy long hours. He says it's about control over your income, your lifestyle, even the kinds of problems you face, because you choose what you want to work on and solve.
It's so interesting how he connects entrepreneurship to personal development. He says that the next level of self-improvement is actually about helping others. It's not just about growing yourself. It's about using your skills to create solutions for others.
He actually has a pretty concise definition of entrepreneurship. He says it's about solving your own problems, sharing the solutions, and ultimately making humanity better. That's a high bar.
It is, but it highlights his belief that this urge to create and contribute is a core part of being human. He even suggests that working for someone else, that's not our natural state. The biggest challenges we face now, they're more psychological and spiritual than physical. We need to evolve past just surviving.
He leaves you with this image. Nobody really wants to be a cog in the machine, right? Deep down, almost everyone feels this pull towards something more, and when you ignore that pull, it leads to boredom, depression, even meaninglessness. Because routines, they only stay exciting for so long.
Absolutely. He's urging us to embrace that uncertainty, to take smart risks, to step into the unknown. That's where we discover new things and unlock our potential, the kind of potential that really aligns with what we value.
So entrepreneurship, with high agency and proactive problem solving, that's the way forward. But you can't talk about that without talking about money. And Koe's got some strong opinions on that in The Unignorability of Money.
Right off the bat, he says that hating money is a surefire way to limit your growth. He argues that negative views about money are often ingrained in us, and they come from not truly understanding what money is.
He breaks it down like this. There's currency, which is what we use to exchange goods and services. And then there's capital, which is more about storing value. And for this conversation, he's focused on currency.
His point is that money, as currency, is neutral. It's just a way to measure value. And the actual worth of money depends on your own problems and goals. What one person finds valuable, another might not care about at all.
He says problems arise when people don't understand money well enough, or they're not mature enough in their own thinking about it. Instead of dealing with their own issues, they project their beliefs and insecurities onto money. It's a way to avoid taking responsibility.
It is. And he points out the hypocrisy of people who criticize money, but then buy things from big corporations, or who are fine supporting creators until those creators want to make a living from their work. It's like a blind spot, right?
So that freeloader point he makes is so interesting. He noticed that things that are free, they often aren't valued as much. Paying for something means You see its worth and you pay more attention to it.
Absolutely. And he connects that to the idea that if you're not actively creating something to offer in exchange for value, you'll end up promoting someone else's stuff or even becoming the product yourself by just trading your time for a wage.
And his take on sales and marketing is different. He says they're not inherently manipulative if they're done by people who genuinely want to help others. It's all about the motivation behind it.
He gets to the heart of it when he says that money can hold people back from personal growth. It's so tied to survival in our minds, you know. This constant survival state can trap us in a very reactive, self-centered way of thinking.
This unignorability of money is everywhere. We spend decades working to pay bills. Even the choice to live a simple life, there's money involved there too. Even decisions about our health, it can be tied to wanting to be more valuable and earn more.
He disagrees with the idea that once you have a few $1,000,000, more money doesn't make you happier. He sees money as a tool for development, a way to unlock new possibilities and experiences.
And this was surprising. He makes an ethical argument. He says if you don't build a business or create value, you're indirectly helping less ethical businesses succeed, because there's less competition from people with good intentions. By just complaining and not doing anything, you might be supporting the very systems you dislike.
That was powerful. Maybe the best way to rebel against a system focused on money is to create more of it, but ethically, with a clear purpose.
He also takes on the idea that working a certain number of hours means you deserve to get paid. He says value is tied to the problems you solve, the results you get, and your ability to convince others of that value.
Right. It's not about just putting in time. It's about the impact you have. And he links this to the enjoyment that comes with conscious entrepreneurship. The progress, the connections, the feedback, it's all very fulfilling.
He even looks ahead to the future of money. He says the form might change, maybe to attention or social status, but the principle of creating value, that'll always be central.
So instead of just hating on money, we should see it as a powerful tool. It can help us survive, but it can also be used for really impactful things, especially through purpose-driven entrepreneurship.
Okay, so moving from profit, let's talk about deep generalism. This sounds really interesting.
Koe starts by saying that humans are naturally generalists and creators. We're meant to learn lots of different skills, like our ancestors who needed diverse abilities to survive. And he's kind of sad that so many people have become specialized tools.
He links this back to the education system, specifically the Prussian model that America adopted. He says it was designed to create obedient workers, not independent thinkers. It was about fitting into the industrial system, not about fostering creativity and critical thinking.
He criticizes specialization, saying that while it can make you seem like an expert in one narrow area, it can also make you less adaptable. He compares it to a lion that's perfectly suited for the savanna and a polar bear that's perfect for the Arctic. They're both specialists, but if their environment changes, they're in trouble.
And he says that real education is about discovery, driven by curiosity. It's about questioning everything you're taught, not just accepting it blindly. It's not just memorizing facts. It's about thinking for yourself.
And that leads to the idea of deep generalism. It's not about knowing a little bit about everything, but about having a strong foundation of core skills. Things like writing, communication, critical thinking. Those are transferable skills that help you in any field.
He says that self-actualization, reaching your full potential, is a necessary step before you can truly help the world. By freeing yourself from limiting beliefs and dependencies, you're better equipped to help others do the same.
It's about having a broad base of skills and a mindset of always learning and adapting, not being stuck in one narrow area of expertise that might become irrelevant someday.
Okay, so deep generalists, always learning and adapting. Now let's get into levels of purpose. This sounds like it's getting to the core of our motivations.
He starts with a big question: who should I become? Then he brings in this ancient concept of cosmos, the idea of the universe as a harmonious system. He contrasts it with a purely materialistic view of the world.
Then he introduces this idea of a holon. These are things that are wholes in themselves, but also parts of larger wholes, like atoms in a molecule, molecules in a cell, and so on. It creates this natural hierarchy.
And he connects that to human development. We start with an egocentric focus, then it expands to our tribe or community, then all of humanity, then the planet, and finally to a sense of being connected to the entire universe. It's like an ever-widening circle of care. He says the more we care for others and the systems we're part of, the more fulfilled we feel.
So it's not about abandoning those earlier levels of caring about ourselves and our families. It's about integrating them into these larger perspectives. Like you can still take care of yourself and your family and also care about your community and the world.
He also brings in the concepts of teleology, the study of purpose, and cybernetics, the study of self-regulating systems. It's about having a direction and constantly adjusting your course to stay on track. Think of setting a destination in your GPS. Your purpose is the destination, and cybernetics is the GPS, constantly giving you feedback and helping you adjust your route.
He makes a distinction between horizontal development, which is learning new skills within your current level of understanding, and vertical development, which is shifting to entirely new perspectives. So horizontal is like learning new skills in your job, and vertical is like changing how you see your job or even your whole purpose in life.
That's a great point. Vertical development is about a fundamental shift in your values and priorities. You start asking different questions, you're motivated by different things. It's not just about more information, it's about a transformation in how you see the world.
And he brings back that core idea, problems are the path. The problems we choose to work on actually shape who we are and what we're capable of. But he warns that being totally overwhelmed by problems can limit our awareness and our passion.
Which leads to his 4 levels of purpose: survival, status, creativity, and contribution. Survival is the first level, where you're focused on basic needs, often on goals given to you by others. You might feel stuck in a routine and think making money is hard.
And to move past survival, Koe says you need to become aware of the beliefs that are holding you back and shift your focus from problems to solutions.
Next is status, where you want security and validation. You might focus on achievements, possessions, or skills that society values. Building wealth, improving your appearance, becoming smarter. But he warns about getting trapped in materialism, or even using spirituality to boost your status.
Interestingly, he gives us permission to seek power at this level. He says you need some influence to reach the higher levels. And he redefines spirituality. It's not about rejecting the material world, it's about finding it in the act of creation and problem solving.
Then there's creativity. You realize that superficial stuff isn't enough. You break free from dependencies, develop a sense of mastery, and start experimenting and coming up with new solutions. This is where you find your unique potential. You're not just copying others anymore.
And finally, there's contribution. You combine art and practicality, often through business. You focus on sharing what has helped you in your own life with the goal of making the world a better place.
He says these levels are general worldviews, not strict stages. You can be creative or contribute at any level. But the fastest way to move through them is to align your work with your true self and your values.
It's about finding work that brings out the best in you and fits with your purpose.
So life is about tackling increasingly meaningful problems, and these levels help us understand how our motivations evolve along the way. Now, let's talk about knowledge.
In Progress and Knowledge, Koe links our ability to achieve what we want to the knowledge we have, especially knowledge about dealing with uncertainty and the unknown. He introduces this idea of cybernetics, which is about self-regulation through feedback loops, like a thermostat that keeps your house at a certain temperature.
Exactly. It's about constantly adjusting based on information. He uses the example of a tightrope walker who's always making tiny adjustments to stay balanced, or a ship captain steering towards a lighthouse, constantly using information to adjust course.
He also mentions that Norbert Wiener, who developed cybernetics, warned us about treating humans like machines, something we haven't really listened to as technology has advanced.
Then he brings in David Deutsch's idea that we can create infinite knowledge through conjecture and criticism. Basically, trying things out, seeing what works, and then refining our understanding. Humans are universal explainers. We can figure anything out if it's possible to figure out.
He talks about AI, too. He says that while AI is powerful, it doesn't mean humans are less capable. We might even be better at things like consciousness, experience, and coming up with truly new ideas.
He says knowledge has 2 main functions. It helps us make specific things happen, and it helps us see patterns in the world, so we can build on what we know and make better decisions.
But he emphasizes that to create new knowledge, you have to step into the unknown. You have to set new and challenging goals. And that brings us back to purpose. He says purpose isn't about bliss, it's about a meaningful struggle that we can enjoy when it aligns with our values. The biggest problem is our fear of the unknown.
He then talks about entropy, the tendency towards disorder, not just in the physical world, but in our minds too. Boredom and anxiety are signs of mental entropy, a mismatch between our skills and the challenges we face.
And the key to fighting entropy is finding the flow state. That's where the challenge is just slightly above our skill level. He calls it nature's compass, guiding us towards growth.
It's a cycle. We feel lost, then something sparks our interest, we become obsessed, And eventually, we reach a new level of understanding, and the cycle repeats as we explore new things.
He tells us not to blindly follow advice. Everyone's path is unique. Experiment. Find what works for you. Experiment upward. Persistence and iteration. That's his motto.
And in the end, our life's work isn't some far-off achievement. It's happening right now, in every moment where we're engaged in something meaningful, where the challenge is just right, and we're growing.
So we're always learning and evolving by taking on challenging problems. But what about finding our life's work?
Koe says, our life's work is about reaching our full potential, getting paid to be ourselves, and becoming valuable to others. It's the opposite of a selfish, unconscious existence.
He says work is unavoidable, but it can feel like play if it aligns with our purpose. He uses the analogy of a spiral. We revisit similar themes, but each time we're at a higher level.
Instead of obsessing over finding your life's work, focus on what will happen if you stay on your current path. Entropy, chaos, a lack of meaning. A good life takes consistent effort to reach higher levels of purpose.
So how do we take that negative awareness and turn it into something positive? By learning how to think, learn, and earn effectively. And that's all about conscious goal setting and focus.
Nobody can give you a perfect plan for your life's work, but they can share their process. And Koe says the core of it is problem solving.
He says that I don't know what I want to do often hides a fear of the work it takes to change. He points to common problems like hating your job, feeling tired all the time, or having relationship issues. Those are starting points for self-reflection.
Focus and a long-term vision are crucial to avoid distractions.
He outlines a plan. First, define what you don't want, your anti-vision. Then, clearly state what you do want, your vision. Raise your standards. Break your vision into smaller goals across different timeframes.
Turn those goals into projects with deadlines. Use limitations to boost your creativity. Figure out the task that will drive the most progress. Find that sweet spot between boredom and anxiety, the flow state. And be curious, always open to new ideas.
Run through this process anytime you feel lost or face challenges. It helps you get clarity and take action.
It's not about a sudden epiphany. It's an ongoing process of refining your vision, setting high standards, and taking action while staying curious and embracing challenges. So now, how do we turn this into creating value for others?
Value creation starts by highlighting how easy it is to learn and build things online. If you have the drive, the resources are there.
He points out that we're relying less on resources and manual labor because of AI and automation. This is good for people who are adaptable, but it could be tough for those who aren't.
The message is to shift from earning with your time and labor to earning with your mind and creativity. Creating things is becoming easier. The challenge now is getting people to care.
And he says if people aren't interested in what you're interested in, it might not be the interest itself. It might be how you're communicating it. Understanding why people care about things is crucial for creating value.
He defines money as a unit of value, and value is how much people care multiplied by how big the problem is you're solving. Power is the ability to change behavior.
And he says that persuasion, convincing people by showing them the positive impact, that's the most ethical form of power. Entrepreneurs are using media to persuade more and more people.
The internet is the best place to create right now. You don't need permission from anyone. Building an audience online gives you a direct connection with people and makes you independent.
Persuasion through writing, speaking, video, art, all of that is key to building an audience. And some specialists are hesitant to put themselves out there like that.
It's important to know where your audience is and speak their language. You need to understand their problems and show them how your solution helps.
Your unique process for solving problems, that's the product. And there are many ways to package it.
And a good offer has tangible value, promises a transformation, has social proof, eliminates risk, and creates urgency.
So creating value is about understanding what people care about, solving big problems, ethically persuading them, and making your solution accessible. Let's talk about the meta skill now.
He starts by going way back, looking at how humans have always collected and shared information. From simple organisms to language to writing. Information is the code of our minds. It shapes who we are and what we can do.
He talks about how information has been centralized throughout history and how that's influenced our goals and perspectives, often aligning them with the people in control, not with what we truly want.
He says that to progress, we need to change the main ideas people are exposed to. We need more people who create and share valuable knowledge.
And here it is, the meta skill, writing. It's the foundation for anyone who wants freedom and the ability to do many things. Writing makes you think better, learn better, and earn better.
It helps you catch mistakes in your thinking and learn across different fields. As AI gets better at technical stuff, our taste, agency, and coherence become even more important, and writing helps with all of that.
He says anyone can learn to write. The only place to start is at the start.
He describes writing as starting with an outline, letting ideas develop, and then adding detail piece by piece.
Writing isn't just about putting words down. It helps you think clearly, learn continuously, and share your unique value with the world. It's the base for so many other skills and successes.
Okay, we've talked about value. Now, how do we get paid for it? Self-monetization.
Koe says that to control your income, create a product. Anything you offer in exchange for value. He challenges the idea that selling is unethical. He says if you don't create and offer value, you'll end up working for someone else on their terms, or becoming the product yourself by trading your time for a wage.
And what about niching down? He says it can be good, but for many, a better path is being the niche. Solve your own problems and share those solutions.
When you are the niche, your self-improvement and your contribution to others become the same thing. Your growth helps you help others, and vice versa. Your purpose and profit are linked.
He busts the myth that you need a lot of money to start. The internet and writing, those are your tools.
He gives examples like Justin Welsh and himself. They started with writing and built businesses through consulting, courses, books, and communities.
And it's not just about information products. Any product, combined with your story and the internet, can beat the competition. Think about those blue light glasses, or custom clothing, or natural soaps. It's all about your unique approach.
He even mentions Jordan Peterson. He's using media to do his life's work, and his success comes from his knowledge and communication, not from relying on traditional institutions.
More and more people and companies are embracing the creator mindset. Single skills are replaceable, but meta skills and the ability to use tools with taste and coherence, that's what matters.
Self-monetization is about authentically creating value based on your experiences. Use the internet and media, and remember, your story is your most valuable asset.
Okay, this brings us to the final part. Become a creator. This feels like the culmination of everything.
He contrasts old views of creativity as something divine with the modern understanding that we're all creative. We've shifted from seeing ourselves as helpless to seeing ourselves as creators. But many people still have that employee mindset.
Again, entrepreneurship versus employment, it's a state of mind. He says true happiness comes from progress and contribution, from solving problems. So being a creator, that's the goal.
Creation is a process. Self-reflection, problem-finding, exploring solutions, testing, and sharing. Profit, in any form, is a measure of how you're improving yourself, others, and the world.
And the tools for creating and sharing have never been more accessible.
We're in a second renaissance online. Creators are the key players now, shaping everything from education to economics to art.
He talks about consumers, creators, and companies. Creators are the ones making things and living at the intersection of purpose and profit.
Creators and companies are building the future. Education, economics, meaning, art, politics, it's all being reshaped.
Old systems are fading away as creators offer better alternatives. It's up to us to choose the right creators to learn from.
Creators are the sense makers in this world of too much information. And even companies are becoming more like creators.
To be future-proof, become a creator. Solve problems, share solutions, and help others.
Exactly. Embrace your creativity, contribute to the world, and you'll not only build a better life for yourself, you'll help create a better future for everyone.
So to recap, we talked about conditioning, choosing our problems, the future of work, the role of money, deep generalism, the levels of purpose, knowledge, finding your life's work, creating value, writing, self-monetization, and becoming a creator.
We covered a lot.
We did. For you, the learner, we hope this deep dive has helped you understand Koe's ideas and given you a new perspective on work, purpose, and profit in this ever-changing world.
One last thought for you. Think about all the assigned problems in your life. What if you chose to solve one of those on your own terms? Could that unlock a deeper purpose for you and create value for others? Don't see your challenges as obstacles. See them as opportunities for growth and contribution.
Keep exploring these ideas. This is just the beginning. The path to a purposeful and profitable life is all about learning and creating.